What's going on, guys? So, today I want to talk about how ADHD impacted my fitness journey and my sobriety. So, one thing that I haven't talked about much on here is that I have ADHD, which was undiagnosed growing up until I was about to graduate high school. And when I first started my journey, I tried a lot of what other people recommended with like the crash diets, the trying like 75 hard, things of that nature, fasting. And what I quickly realized was that they weren't working well for me because with how my brain worked, I needed a routine I enjoyed. I needed it to be done in a way that it was enjoyable enough that I could sustain it, but also I was seeing results. Because if I wasn't seeing quick results and I didn't like it and I felt miserable, it wasn't going to be sustainable, and I was going to continue that start and crash cycle. So what I quickly realized was how do I ease into it? How do I make it sustainable, and how do I make it so enjoyable? So what kept tripping me up is that I felt like I need to suffer in my routine. So I would start these routines, like I started keto, and I would do like at some one point my diet was literally just lean ground turkey, and I didn't even think I was doing vegetables. I think it was lean ground turkey and jerky, and like just straight like lean meat. Which, don't get me wrong, it's delicious, but when you're only eating lean meat, it gets really boring easily. Or like when I was doing fasting, I would start my day fasting up until around like 5, 6, and then I would eat. And what I noticed with that was that I would get hungry during that time of my fasting, and I would just end up overeating on calories during my eating window. So my brain was finding ways to trick around those crash diets. Not without me realizing it. Obviously, I was responsible for doing it, but I didn't realize in the moment that's what was going on. So what helped me was realizing that I needed foods that were convenient, healthy, and match my calorie intake. So rather than doing all one type of eating, I started off by getting healthy snacks, right? So when I was in the mood for a snack, instead of going for chips, pretzels, cookies, donuts, whatever, I would go for things like popcorn, nuts, which I thought were healthy at the time, rice cakes, apples, fruit in general, veggies, and I would keep them pre-chopped up, pre-portioned, so that way I could just grab and go, right? Grab and go. That way I wasn't tempted to buy something at the gas station or buy something at the grocery store. And that's one thing that worked for me. Another was that this is gonna sound funny, I would buy like pre-cooked foods. So like I have egg bites in my fridge right now, or I would buy yogurts or pre-cooked foods for breakfast. So when I woke up, I could just like grab it and go out the door, or quickly eat it and go out the door. I didn't have to cook or like warm anything up or anything like that. I could literally grab and go. Because one thing I found that was happening is that I'm a very slow mover in the morning. Like I'll wake up at like 4 or 5, and I'm not out the door till around 9 or 10, right? Just because I wake up, I work out, I do whatever I'm gonna do. I like my routine takes forever in the morning, so I needed the the food that was gonna allow me to just grab and go. So I wasn't stopping at like McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts or some sort of fast food place on the way to work, and that instantly dropped my calories. A third one was with my workouts, right? So I would get done with school or work or whatever, and I'd be like, do I really want to go home and change and get my gym stuff and go work out? Because I wasn't seeing results at the time when I was first starting. So what I did was I would pack my clothes, put them in my car, so when I got done with work, I didn't need to come home. I could literally just go right to the gym and change, or change before I left for the gym. And that was a game changer for my sustainability, my routine. Because if I were to come home, knowing me, I would have come home, I would have taken off my work clothes, I would have put on my gym clothes, and then I would have been like, well, I feel like Netflix. I feel like, eating, snacking. Instead, I have no excuse because I don't have to go home for anything. So it's straight from work or school to the gym. And what that did was it created the routine of like, okay, this is what I do. And then eventually I went to the gym for so long that the gym started being a dopamine boost. And then I would look forward to it. Still bring my clothes with me just for those odd times that I wasn't motivated. But I began to look forward to it so much that it would be like the highlight of my day in a sense. And that was a game changer for me. Just like with the food, it's all about making it so easy. That's the key thing, making it so easy to stay in routine that you have no excuse to stray. Because say I got a carton of eggs for the mornings instead of egg bites. I would get the carton of eggs, bring it home, be like, oh yay, I'm gonna cook some eggs in the morning for myself, right? I get up, it's like 5 minutes before I gotta go to work, and I don't have time to cook eggs. I don't have time to, you know, bake some. Like I literally have no time. I'm just gonna go grab some McDonald's. Now I get up, I get dressed, I go to the kitchen, I get my egg bites, my fruit. If I have time to heat it up there, I'll heat it up. If not, I'll take it with me, or a protein bar or a shake or something that's just grab and go but still healthy and reaches my goals. That was key. When it comes to tracking was tricky with me because I would I would literally eat my meal and then forget, or I would eat it, forget, and then remember later, try to track, and then I'm like, oh, I never weighed it. So I would pre-weigh my food. So like my lunchbox when I go to work, literally I have everything weighed out in a bag or container, and I have the grams written out on the container. So that way when I pull it out, it's like, oh, that's my reminder to track. And I track, move on. And what happens is, since I'm keeping all healthy snacks, healthy foods around, even if I forget to track the rare times I do, it's not high calorie enough to really knock off too much progress. Obviously, I want to remember to track as much as possible to make sure I'm staying on track, but if I forget, it's not too detrimental to my routine. So those are some things as far as like the act of staying on track. When it comes to, I have a very addictive personality, which which didn't leave me well in either my sobriety or my weight loss, because I just like things that make my brain feel good. Because I struggle with emotions and feeling emotions deeply, and just I struggle processing the emotions, right? So when it would come to trying to deal with an emotion rather than do something healthy like journal or feel the emotion, I would go for what snack's gonna make me feel good right now, what drink's gonna make me feel good right now, what substance is gonna make me feel good, and that was not healthy. Obviously, I ended up at 550 pounds and deep addiction. That was just not good for me at all. So what I had to do was I had to, when I first started, because I wasn't mentally in a space to start journaling or dealing with it at the time. So what I would do is I found healthier addictions to lean into. So I would draw, or I would do graphic design stuff, film content like this. I would go for walks, go to the gym. It's what healthy addictions can I get into that prevent me from going to the unhealthy ones. Another one was mocktails. That was a big one for me. Mocktails are a huge part of my journey because you can make them very low calorie, some zero calorie, but very low calorie, and they hit the spot. They really help as far as cravings and you know counteracting those unhealthy habits go. And that was really key for me. And then eventually, now I'm kind of at the place where okay, I actually need to start dealing with the underlying part. Now I'm kind of on track with my routine, and I'm not. I don't feel the need to go to those bad vices anymore. Now I'm actually starting to work on that part of the inner healing, and that's a big part too because now I have less of those urges, right? Not every day's perfect, not every time's perfect, but it's a lot better than it was. And that's like kind of where I'm heading at this point. And it's been such an amazing part of my journey. And then the last one is staying organized with ADHD. I struggle staying organized. That's a big part of me. Struggle remembering things, just in general. And that kind of came into play with like sometimes forgetting what my calories were, sometimes forgetting, certain things in my schedule, you know, like the tracking. So what helps me with that is I keep a in my phone I have notes. So for my macros, I have a note with what my macros are. I have a note with important things I need to remember. My calendar is filled with daily reminders. Literally, my schedule is wake up, gym, walk, breakfast, what, like my whole day is planned out. So I literally wake up and I look at my calendar and I see exactly what I need to do that day, and I have no excuse of what should I be doing, you know. And I end up doom scrolling less. I end up having less time to go for binges, right? And that has helped immensely. So it's all about how can you optimize your routine so you have less excuses to self sabotage. And that's a big aspect in that sense because so there's a funny story. Back when I was in college in my sophomore year, this was before I started my journey. I had went to a party one night and I chugged a bottle, the Pink Whitney, the pink lemonade vodka. I chugged a bottle of that and then drank it a few White Claws in one night, and I was horribly hungover the next morning. But because I was in undergrad and I didn't know what to do with myself, I literally sat there hungover for a day and a half, 2 days, and I literally got nothing done because I felt like crap. So it's like what you don't realize is when you have those unhealthy habits, you're really self sabotaging in other areas of your life, right? Like with my eating, when I would overeat, I would spend way too much money on food, right? I would spend way too much money on drink. So bettering those healthy habits prevented me from self sabotaging in other areas. So like now, I'm better with my money now. Now that I'm not spending so much on food, I'm better with remembering things now because I'm not constantly thinking about what addiction I can go for. I'm better with, building friendships and relationships because my brain's no longer in that bad space, that negative space. So overall, working on this healing has helped in so many areas of my life. And now it's kind of to the point now where now that I have my physical health in order, I'm getting my mental health in order. Now I want to get my financial health in order, my career health in order. There's all these things now that I'm like, wow, I can actually tackle these. And it's really starting to become an amazing process in this journey. But I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.